So I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the South East Nation, the Malakadi people of the Yuin River and the Liliquani people of the Far South. We recognise their continuing connection to land, water and culture, and we pay our respects to their elders past and present. In attendance tonight we have Deputy Mayor Thorpe, Councillor Armstrong, Councillor Jessup, Councillor Robinson, Councillor Gibson, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Burgess and Councillor Murchak. Can you like to welcome your staff?
I would. We have Director of People and Corporate Services, Patty Johnson, Director of Community and Place, Lyle Ground, Director of Infrastructure and Assets, Frank Chen, and Senior Manager Governance and Risk, Sandra Anderson. General Counsel Matt Grimsey is an apology. We also have support staff, Assistant Manager Innovation and Technology, Callan Finch, and Executive Assistant, Olga Bath.
Thank you. So we have because we don't have to register with an apology, do we? No. So no apologies tonight, no leave of absence and no absent. Councillors, do anyone wish to declare an interest in any of tonight's agenda items? Thank you. So we're up to 4.013/24. Confirmation of minutes. Do I have a councillor to move a motion that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council 27th of November 2024 as circulated be confirmed? Moved by Councillor Thorpe and seconded by Councillor Gibson.
I have a small amendment, Mayor.
Yep.
Report number 17.006-24 has myself recorded as voting in favour of the report in which I declared a conflict and was not in the room before.
Thank you.
Apologies, Spotted will fix that.
Okay, and do we have any others?
Well,
Yes.
I have just one correction for the record. Apparently I left Mr Grimsey off my list of helpers at the show. Apparently he did an excellent job wrangling everybody's hobby horse topics. I wonder where he learned that skill from, wrangling hobby horses. But apparently he did a great job as a volunteer there as well.
Thank you. Thanks for that. So there's no others? Okay. Well, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. The motion is carried. No legislative items tonight? No urgent matters? Mayor's announcements. I do have, I'm just trying to find my press release. Yuin Valley Council and Tasmanian Health Service and Yuin Regional Care have agreed to a multi-year contract to provide rural hospital beds at Dover Medical Centre, supported by the Yuin Regional Care nursing staff, and our Yuin Valley Council doctors are on a 24-hour rotation or on-call? On-call with the health beds. So would you like to add anything to that we've done today with the Minister?
Oh, look, it was great to have the Minister down alongside David from Yuin Regional Care to sign off on the deal. It's taken a long while to come. We've been eagerly anticipating it, and it does mean that it provides some further financial underpinnings, more service that we can provide, which is the benefit to the whole community. But it also does make us the opportunity to service these, what are rural hospital beds. It's a great opportunity for our current GPs and is also an attraction strategy to try to get more GPs who want some interesting rural experience to come down to the valley, and it's already generating quite a bit of interest, so we're excited to see what happens next.
And we met down there with Minister Petrusma, and we are forever thankful for her constant support over this, and and to our new business manager, Andrew
Bourne, yep.
Yes, and the work that he's done on this is great as well. So
Absolutely.
well done to everyone concerned. And I just need to remind the public about the Great Wheelie Bin survey. I think that it closes around about the 6th of January, and we've nearly had up to nearly 1,000 responses so far. So that is really good. I undersold that today at Tasways. I didn't know that we'd had that many. So so well done to the public, but please keep them coming in. Well done. Okay, we had 2 questions taken on notice at November's meeting, and the responses are on our website and included in the minutes. Do you think that people have forgot that we have a meeting tonight after having the AGM? So there was 1 question on notice from a Mr. John Andrews, and the response is on our website and also included in the minutes. Questions without notice, there was none for tonight. And we have no one in the gallery, so we don't have to go to public question time. So I'll move straight on to, there's no deputations, no petitions. There's no planning reports tonight. General reports, are there any councillors that are tabling their activities tonight? Well done. Would any of you like to speak to those? No?
Very boring month.
It was a boring month. We just had, learning stuff. Just council stuff.
Just council stuff. Amy, you're not? No?
Look, I attended on the 28th of November the opening of the Huon Domestic Violence Services Art Exhibition opening. And it's not easy to speak about, but it was a great event. And I really appreciated the invitation and the work, the effort, and I think I could even say inspiration of the people involved in that organisation and purpose were incredibly evident. So if anyone else gets the opportunity, if it happens next year, I'd encourage them to attend.
Thank you. I believe also you attended the opening of the hub, the Veterans Hub up the road today?
Yes, Veterans
Yes,
Hub.
yes.
Yeah, plenty of people there. Had a couple of chats. It's happening already. So a couple of the stories presented were that people have seen the flag up at the front of the building and said, "Oh, what's happening here? Come in." And there have been interactions that have delivered connections, services, and outcomes, even though it only opened today. So it's a needed service, and please do share the word around your networks. And I suspect it's going to do great things.
And Sandy said it was so nice, it was so bright and well fitted out that it made it very, welcoming. So well done.
One comment is the model involves some accommodation development, and that's partly to assist veterans, the core purpose of the organisation, but it's also to accommodate non-veteran people, which generates some income to support the services of that operation.
Yeah.
So that's worth being aware of.
Thank you. Thanks for attending that today. Okay, so we're up to 11.012/24. Do I have a councillor to move a motion that the general reports and minutes for the period 1 to 30 November 2024 were received and noted? Do I have a councillor to move that motion, please? What have I got? Councillor, I better say Councillor Robertson after I told her I wasn't going to. And seconded by Councillor Rozek. Thanks. Do you wish to speak to any of those reports, Councillor Robertson?
No, I'm good.
You're right. Do I have any other?
I have one question.
Yes.
From the business enterprise unit, just in regards to the AGMs for the retirement villages being complete, it notes that there's some issues and maintenance items. I'm just wondering if there's anything immediate that is of concern to council, or are they just superficial?
Yeah, nothing of great concern. I mean, we're obviously working to maintain those spaces all the time. Yeah, we'll be acting to make sure that they're sorted out.
No other?
Thank you. Just to comment on the work on page 35 of the paper report, been done at the Port Huon Pool and how that seems to be coming along. The double glazing, the actual disability hoist, which is a fully accessible one, so it's actually can hoist a whole chair in and stuff. So that seems to be going along well. Do we have a sort of feeling of when all the bits might fall into place and the doors might be swung over? Roughly.
Answer that?
We won't hold you to it.
Through you, Mayor,
Yes?
we're still waiting for the arrival of the HVAC unit. And that's on the critical path. Without HVAC unit, we won't be able to confirm a date. But we are still aiming for January. So if everything pans out like planned, and we're likely to see it in late January. Otherwise, but at the end of the day, we're aiming for the first quarter of 2025, as previously communicated.
That's with the power upgrade or
No power upgrade. So we have explored other options such as reduced capacity, and that's also we need to wait until the unit arrived, commissioned to work out what's that's doable or not.
fingers crossed.
Okay. Nothing else from Councillor Robinson? You're right, okay. Well, I'll put that, all those in favour of that motion, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. Motion is carried. There's no meeting minutes. January reports, workshops. Would you like to? Yeah.
Sure, we had one workshop in November, 27th November, where we discussed the livability framework with councillors and considered options for how we can bring more structure to our improving livability aims for the Huon Valley and actually demonstrate those outcomes and guide our work.
Thank you. Okay, there was no questions taken on notice from November's council meeting. There was no questions from councillors given on notice. Councillors, are there any questions without notice? No. And there was no motions tonight? No. Okay. Straight on to report number 15.041/24 bylaws review. I refer the councillors to the recommendation of this report. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor Strong. And seconded by Councillor Rozak. Do you wish to speak to this, Councillor Armstrong?
Not particularly, Mayor. I think it's all pretty self-explanatory and bylaws are bylaws, really, aren't they?
Do I have any other comments? Yes?
I just wondered, this idea of compacting the bylaws all into one, I just wondered why we wouldn't do it into the three main areas and have three separate ones. It seems a little bit confusing to have it all in one.
Through you, Mayor, if I may. Councillor Gibson, my understanding to date is Matt's, or Mr Grimsey's concept about the as General Counsel was that this paper was to alert councillors not to the direct outcome or direct or assume an outcome of the review. It was to identify that we do have a problem with expiry, redundancy and the impracticality of the three. Matt's not locked into all three or all two into one. It's merely there is a possibility that they could be combined into one or two. It's about just letting you know we're going to start the process of review. I too think that we also have to look very clearly at the headline pieces of legislation that frame those bylaws or to which those bylaws might relate. So we might find ourselves indeed coming out with 3 modern, contemporary and practical bylaws as opposed to the language in the current 3. So in no way are we wedded to an ultimate outcome, Councillor. Is that okay?
The recommendation says 1 simply for the fact that we do actually want to reduce it.
Oh, look, I think reducing is very simple, yeah, very good
But
idea.
it's got it on that, if that's the aim, we will obviously retract to, maybe it is 3 themed ones,
Well,
if that makes more sense.
There were 3 areas that were identified. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Environment, infrastructure and
Public places.
public
Yeah.
places.
And that's all discussed in there, so that's what that's the reversion state, but the aim and the recommendation, that's why it's just saying we're going to try for 1 if we can to get, and if the administration makes sense, then we'll do it, but if not, we'll be reverting to a 3 stack.
Fair enough.
Okay. No others, councillors? No? All right. Well, I'll put that forward. All those in favour of that recommendation, please raise your hand. That's all, and the motion is carried. Report number 15.042/24, review of delegated authority. I refer the councillors to the recommendation of this report. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor Gibson, and a seconder, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Gibson, do you wish to?
I think this all looks fine. I did want to suggest an amendment just with regard to the wording on minor amendments rather than having that as minor amendments, because that minor amendments has a meaning in the building design profession as adjusting windows and doors and that sort of thing, which this isn't. So I wonder if we should, instead of saying minor amendments, to some wording such as changes as listed in this policy, because it goes on to have quite specific listing of what they're for, and so my suggestion was that we just directed straight to that list.
So sorry, are you saying a change to the recommendations?
Change the policy.
Oh, it's number 41. Is it number 41?
In the paper, no, I think it's the
Paper?
one attached.
Ah,
Do you have a page number or something?
So there's 3 things.
This is taking the meaning of minor amendment per the LUPA and the Building Act. So the wording is critical. Do you have a?
That's correct, yeah. So
Yeah.
the section, I think it's section 56, is specifically references minor amendments.
And then it defines them.
Correct. So you want to,
No, if that's out of loop, it's a little bit confusing for somebody who works in the building profession. They're not actually amendments to the design, they're amendments to staging, and there were 3 things. I can't remember what they were.
Yeah. So it's coming from the definition of LUPA,
Okay.
which is what we're trying to do, so that we're limited in where we're delegated is only in cases where we have that minor amendment.
Yeah.
So to clarify the scope. Yeah. Is that?
that's correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I had one question. Is there a procedure for reporting? I know that all of these delegations usually are reported, but is that written anywhere? Just so the councillors, because when we delegate our responsibility, we should also be made aware of it.
Internal delegation, through you, Mayor, if I may, internal delegations such as this are recorded. We have the Register of Reliance delegations, which have a number. There's a screenshot at clause 42 of this particular report, councillor, which gives you the screenshot of what it looks like. For currently delegations that are signed internally pursuant to these delegations, documents, that is legal documents, including planning approvals and permits, they are undertaken or recorded in our electronic system via a CEO pro forma, or we have currently a general counsel pro forma, which sets out very much like a council report who, what, when, how, policy, the delegation number, and when the seal has been applied, if it's a document under seal. In turn, in other delegations don't necessarily have that report, but they are registered within the document system that we have, the electronic digital under the Archives Act.
Do they come through a meeting in the General Manager's report? I mean, I know planning delegations do.
Yeah, so what you're talking about is actually the reporting of when we've used
Yeah.
that delegation.
That's right.
Yeah, so we can do, that's no problem. So we put them onto the existing planning.
We could just add it as a category in the planning report. That wouldn't be a major issue.
In exactly the same way as where my current delegations, if there's one representation, so there'd just be a new, we'd
So we
separate
can
it.
scan through and say,
Yeah, so we'd separate it, it's just a new section under this delegation, these are the approvals undertaken.
should we put that in here as an F?
I'll say you don't need to, but you can do.
Is it operational or is it
Yeah, it's
policy based?
It's operational, it's just how we report it through, so it's, you don't, and that's what I mean, you don't need to, but can if you want.
I'll commit to reporting through.
As long as you remember.
It's on public record.
Well, that was my only comments.
That's all I was going to say.
All right.
Can't see where you put it in the recommendation there.
Do we have any others, Paul? That was all for you. Any others from any other councillor?
So, Mayor, this is we workshopped this a couple of months ago, didn't we? Yeah.
Yep.
And there's been no other substantive changes since then that you?
No, it's come up through the, what's the one that we keep seeing on this?
Bullock.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's another one this week. So Bullock Way and So this is the repetitive example we've seen, which is, and every time we've discussed, this is a minor thing. This is administratively burdensome. People have to wait for a month for a council meeting to get the sign off. So this is the type of issue that we're moving this delegation to deal with.
And through you, Mayor and CEO. Also, it was an action directly in relation to pre-approved council recommendations in September, where two minor amendments such as this came up, which are cited in the earlier parts of this section, and we committed to council that we would look for a more efficient process, which has resulted in this particular report to councillors tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I note there's 65 pages at the end of tonight's agenda
On this.
that will be dealt with by staff
Yeah.
in the course of normal business as a result of this delegation.
On top of, I think, the 4 others we've seen this year already.
All right. Now we have to close. Okay, well, I'll put that forward. All those in favour of the recommendation, please raise your hand. That's all councillors, and the motion is carried. Report number 15.043/24, review of the Delegated Authority Building Act 2016. Do I have a councillor to move that motion, please? Councillor Thorpe, and seconded Councillor Ruzak. Do you wish to speak to this, Councillor Thorpe? Any other comments on this one? Okay. Well, if there's no further comments, I'll put that forward. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors, and the motion is carried. Report number 15.044/24, dispute resolution policy. I refer the councillors to the recommendation. Do I have a councillor to move the motion? Councillor O'Neill, and seconded Councillor Gibson. Councillor O'Neill?
No, Mayor, thank
No,
you.
Mayor? Any other comments or questions on this one? No? Oh, yes, sorry.
I just had a couple of notes I took. I thought it was really good that this whole process comes in before any code of conduct lodgement, so that seems like a good procedure, and general procedural fairness and equity. So, yeah, I thought it was.
Thank you. Have any other? No? Okay, well, I'll put that. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. The motion is carried. Report number 15.045/24, General Policy Review. I refer councillors to the recommendation of this report. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor Armstrong, and seconded. Councillor O'Neill. Do you wish to speak to this, councillor? Armstrong?
Yeah, I think they're all pretty straightforward.
Do I have any other comments or? Yes?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one really brief comment on the asset management policy. Nothing on the content, but what I really enjoyed was having the clean version to read rather than the one that's, all crossed out, because it really improves the reading flow. And it's great to have both somehow, but yeah, the clean version really made it easier to understand what's, read it easier. So thanks for providing that. It's just very helpful. Thank you.
To clarify, normally historically what you would have got is that clean version, but given that we're workshopping these and for public awareness of the inputs that councils are having, the reason we provide that, albeit unclean version, is because that's the incorporation of councillors' comments through that redrafting the changes. So that's the purpose, to just be transparent in how these policies are changing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, councillor Robertson.
I'm just going to comment that we can see that there are lots of policy reviews happening and going through the process at the moment. And one of the implications of this is that the asset management plan isn't being reviewed until I think about 12 months after it's technically due for that review. But the review is set up by this policy that we're approving tonight, and then the contents get reviewed. And this is just a personal comment, but I remember sitting in this council about 10 years ago and looking at an asset management plan that had a number of schedules with front-end content, so say the first 3 years of park furniture or signs or things like that, and then 6 or 7 years worth of schedules that were empty, that weren't organised, that weren't scoped. And so where we are now is significantly ahead, or significantly improved on that. So I just want to pass that perspective on. We're doing things better. So well done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great
Yeah,
to
good
hear. And
feedback.
I know that the director and the department have got a lot more opportunity that they see in improving it even further. So it's an ongoing body of work.
Thanks, Amy. Okay, so do we have any other? No? Well, I'll put that motion forward. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. The motion is carried. Next one, isn't it? Report number 17.008/24. On you giving back of a Crown Lakes, all right? Public Wharf and Franklin. Is that all right? Yes. Thank you. I refer councillors to the recommendation of this report. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Burgess. Do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Do you want to say the word for me? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Got something?
Mayor, is there anybody reliant on our Crown lease now? Is there anybody who uses it based on our lease, or is it?
Through you, Mayor,
Yes.
if I may. Councillor, it's a licence. At the moment, there's a name of that ferry that was Thank you. That is sitting on the licence running parallel. The front of the licence to the north, it's shaped like a right angle of area, but the polygon of that area is able to be changed. But at the moment, the state government has given permission for the Crown to hold the ferry for I think the custodians, the ferry, are the wooden boat centre for the purpose of potentiality of that lovely old ferry being remediated by the very talented folks at the WBC. So to the very north of the right angle, that area is where the new pontoon will be manufactured, created, installed, pursuant to the original state government grant from 2018-2019. The polygon will be altered by the Crown, it's fully at their discretion, to create the adequate and legal space for the creation of the new pontoon.
So there's no one else we're aware of that is reliant on that lease, it's just the occupation of that cartilla,
Correct.
and there's a provision in place for that.
Correct.
So does this relinquishment impact the cartilla in any way?
That is a matter for the Crown.
Okay, because it would have to negotiate with the Crown, of course.
And the Crown have already provided documentation to the Living Boat Trust in favour of this. The Crown is basically assisting the correct implementation and utilisation of public funds as per the original Crown grant.
Yes, councillor.
Just on that subject, should council be concerned with the situation of the cartilla, in that just seems to be in oblivion there? It's if it does sink or break up, have we got any liability or? Because it's not in a good state. Well, I don't believe it would be in a good state.
I'm definitely not aware on behalf, from a legal perspective, as to the true nature of the custodianship that is agreed between the parties, including the Crown, and it wouldn't be probably appropriate for us to delve into that. It is Crown licence area and jurisdiction. Do we have any liability on relinquishment of this Crown licence? No, sir, we don't.
And we're not a party
We're
to
not a
any,
party.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
The social responsibility and community aspects, sir, I can't comment upon.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Just seems to be going nowhere.
Yeah,
Which is sad.
it's been like that for a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, mate, so a bottomless pit, I think.
Anybody else? No? Okay, well, I'll put that motion forward. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. The motion is carried. Report number 18.011/24, consent to develop outside the building area at 77 Bull Way. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor Thorpe and Councillor Robinson. Councillor Thorpe. Do you wish to speak to this one?
No, but hopefully this is the last one.
Should be.
Well, now that we've passed the motion, can't we?
Don't
just-
delegate.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you might have done, just flick it straight on.
Sorry, we don't need to.
Yeah. So, no other? No? Yes, councillor?
Sorry, through you, I do just have a question about this because it is a bit repetitive. I'm not quite sure how to ask the question, but why were these envelopes put there in the first place if nothing fits in them? I mean, I've been wondering this for a while and I thought now's a good time to bring it up, hey, like.
Considering it might be the last one you get to
That's
see.
what I sort of thought, then I'll be off the hook for the rest of them, but clearly we have an ongoing issue here with this,
Way?
yes.
Yeah.
Through you, Mayor.
Yes.
They were approved through a different an old planning scheme, and there were provisions in that planning scheme whereby if you could demonstrate a particular size building envelope, you had a sort of more straightforward pathway in the subdivision space. So they were put there primarily for that purpose.
Right.
So not cognizant of, and also we've also spoken previously about the Part 5 and the way it was drafted also didn't allow for consideration of the additional infrastructure that services the actual dwelling itself.
Yes, okay, thank you. That was just one of those things that popped into my mind.
No worries.
Yep.
Thank you for asking that. Any other? No? Okay, well, I'll put that forward, recommendation forward. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. And the motion is carried. 19.061/24. We are about to move into closed council, so I'd like to thank those watching from home and take the opportunity to wish you all a safe and happy Christmas with your family. If you're on the road, please take care and look after and say good day to your neighbour. Just check on them. It's a really good thing to do. Okay, so the recommendation is that the meeting now be closed to the public at
6:36 p.m.
pursuant to Regulation 15 of the Meeting Procedures Regulations to discuss the following matters. Do I have a councillor to move a motion to go into closed? Oh, they're all up. Councillor Jessup and Councillor Robertson. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. I advise that in accordance with the Euan Valley Council's audio recording of council meeting policy, recording of the open session of the meeting ceased at
6:37 p.m.